Daily Graphic has on the front page political parties flouting law on submission of accounts to Electoral Commission. That's the big one there. And the president exercised full authority over public finances. President urges Parliament. Cop killed by unknown assailants. His photograph is here. And also the University of Education, Widiba, closed now. Heritage says police SWAT team storms court to protect judge as 12 suspects make appearance. That's the route at ECG offices somewhere in the Eastern region. The Finder, salvos in NDC, humiliating defeat, search for new flag bearer, divides rank and file. And Ghana, land of opportunity for private capital. President is talking there. Kolibu, we're told, records 300 burn cases in 2017. The statesman says exercise control over public finance. And the Ghanaian Times has that story from Temakop, gunned down by unknown assailants. Government to save $700 million through review of power deals. My guest this morning today, talking to my extreme left, is the NPP's National National Coordinator, Kamal Abdullah. Kamal, good morning.
Good morning.
Grateful you're here with us. And yes, he's in the race for the youth organizer of the NPP.
The NDC is worried that the man who delivered the Zungos
will get that position.
Of course. And,
okay.
and will get to, rally the youth of this country to get them stay in a position for long.
Okay. All right. I'm grateful, Kamal. And then Comrade Ibrahim Mutala Mohammed is a member of the NDC, former Deputy Minister of Trade. Welcome too. Grateful for your time.
Thank you.
You are not going for any position?
No, every preceding year after elections, we hear this kind of stories that are coming up. I just hope he is not booted out, because if you look at the list of those who are contesting or vying, for positions in the party, it reaffirms the position many Ghanaians have maintained, that this particular party, the Buze Dankos talk, the MPP, is for a particular persuasion. And I wouldn't be surprised if he gets booted out. Or they will fill the candidate against him. I will never be surprised about that.
Okay. The party will change that. I'm sure the party will change that perception.
I'm saying that they will show you Pepe.
This is uncalled for.
They will show you Pepe.
Okay.
Wait, they will show him Pepe.
I'm sure the party will change that
at all. We pride ourselves as a party that, of course, ensures that the geopolitics of this country is respected clearly. We have, of course, we are the first political party, if I should say,
to introduce aliens compliance order.
Republican
Have you go and read the political history?
Vice president.
What?
Of course, we're the first.
When he was contesting for what happened? You guys disrespected, you berated, you devalued.
All right, we'll leave that for the party to decide when.
Dr. Baumia would also see Pepe, just as you guys did
to get ready for its Congress.
What have I talked about?
Let me jump to the Daily Graphic this morning. Exercise for authority over public finances. President urges Parliament. President Adodankwe Akufo-Addo has challenged Parliament to exercise full authority over public finances. He said he belongs to a group that feels strongly that our Parliament should be able to exercise full authority over public finances. He goes on to say that Parliament is unable to exercise that effective oversight over the executive arm of government. He's worried and suggestion of a constitutional change to deal with it. Comrade, you have been in Parliament. Let me begin this conversation with you. Is Parliament able to do this, ensure public finances are well utilized? Is Parliament able to do that?
Well, let me say good morning to your cherished viewers and, of course, the good people of Nantong constituency and my good brother. We are all in the month of Ramadan, and my expectation is that we would have all committed ourselves to praying to Allah, particularly when we are getting to the last lap, if you like, because the month of Ramadan is divided into 3. You have the first 10, the second 10, and then the last 10. The first 10, which is the opportunity for you to seek the mercies of Allah. The second 10, which is an opportunity for you to pray for forgiveness, and that is why the Holy Prophet in that particular period, he was always praying, oh Allah, you are the most forgiven, you give forgiveness, and we pray to you to forgive us. So it's Allahumma innaka afuwwun tuhibbul afwa fa'fu anna. I urge that we all do that. And I think that the understanding is not just praying for Allah's forgiveness, but we should also have the heart to forgive each other, forgive people, whether they are Muslims or non-Muslims. You should also have the heart. Just as you call for Allah to forgive, I believe that it is an opportunity for you also to forgive others. And the last thing is to more or less take yourself away from Jahannam, that is the hellfire. It is an opportunity. So this is a spiritual month. So I think that people are engaged in it. It is not just about denying yourself food and water, but it is about demonstrating in terms of what you hear, what you say, what you think, how you act, and a whole lot of. So that is just my brief comment. It doesn't take the president to ask Parliament or any other person to ask Parliament to be independent and play its oversight responsibility on the executive. Parliament is mandated by law to do so. We have governance, that is why they say is divided into three, and Professor Montesquieu's proposition that you have the separation of powers and the theories of check and balances, that you have three arms of government. You have the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary. And most importantly, you have these other two arms, the executive, the legislative arm and the judicial arm, that must always play the responsibility of safeguarding the interest and the integrity of people and protecting people or abusers, or if you like, of the executive arm. So it doesn't take the president to ask Parliament to do so, but it is a welcoming news. I mean, if the president also thinks someone who has been a member of Parliament, I guess for 3 times, he would have seen, and he is better placed now to know whether Parliament is doing what they are supposed to do. But I think that call must also go to his vice president. You have a vice president where minority who have in Parliament, who have a responsibility of playing such responsibilities, demanded transparency and accountability. And the only response the vice president could give to them was that they were ignorant about the 2.25 billion. You have his own minister, a member of cabinet and a minister of finance, who indeed was asked to come and respond to specific questions at Parliament when Parliament invoked Standing Order 49. He came there, berated, condescending, disrespected and insulted Parliament and described members of Parliament as ignorant. And I think that some of those things must be seen demonstrated, that in as much as we think that you need to be very firm, you also need to demonstrate some kind of respect and cordiality with the legislative arm. And I'm saying this because we happen to be practicing the hybrid system. Britain has a parliamentary democracy. The United States of America has an executive government. We have combined the two. So that is why you find the Constitution also demanding that majority of ministers who should be appointed should be members of Parliament. I have always advocated that we need to look at that aspects of our law. We need to insulate, absolutely, the legislative arm from the executive arm. And I think that these are some of the issues. Permit me also to say that if you look at the conditions of service of parliamentarians, I am not in Parliament any longer, and I believe that I'll be in a better position to advocate for the interests of MPs so that people wouldn't see it as if I am advocating for my own interest. I think the working condition is just absolutely unacceptable. I stand to be corrected. But my understanding is that the parliamentarians in Ghana are the least paid. In Africa, are the least paid. Now, many people do not know that when they quote the figures, I remember when we were in Parliament and it was quoted that it takes about 7,000 something. By the time all the taxes or the deductions are done, you'll be left with somewhere around 2,000 something. Now, the politics we do, if you go to the constituencies, the understanding is as if a member of Parliament is not only playing that legislative role or responsibility. He has a responsibility of also taking care of families. He has a responsibility of paying school fees. He has a responsibility of doing outdoors and weddings and others for people. It will be extremely difficult for people to begin appreciating that, look, we need to know limits of what members of Parliament can do. So the question is, if you have a member of Parliament who has enormous responsibilities that are imposed on him or her by virtue of how our politics has been done ever since we started implementing the 4th Republican Constitution, how can that person discharge his responsibility to the fullest? And that is why, to some extent, you find some level of intimidation and lack of independence. If we really want Parliament to be independent, so to speak, then we must begin looking at some aspects of the laws. That ties the
that's what the
hands
president
of the
is asking for.
Two. And the other issue has to do with the fact that there are many people who go into contest for parliamentary seats, not because they genuinely and sincerely want to serve as members of parliament, but they think that should their party wins, they would have the chance of being appointed as members of the executive. That is a fact. We can pretend about it.
That would be a very trivial.
So you're suggesting that ties their hands.
Come on, this is not trivial. This is not.
That would be a very trivial.
No, it's not trivial. You can't call it trivial. They may have justifiable reasons why. But if you have a system where, if you are a member of the legislative arm, you cannot be part of the executive arm, that is when we begin to see Parliament asserting their independence. That is where we begin to see Parliament playing absolutely the role of having that oversight responsibility of the executive. And I think that, frankly, many people may not be happy with this, but I think that that is the way to go. Okay. Of course, we started our democracy. We may have some challenges, but I think that for us to do that, but I want to say, in conclusion, that yes, it's a good call, but let's see how even the executive itself behave towards the legislature. And I think that once we do that, we'll be able to find a solution.
Comrade says it's a good call. I guess you support the president call.
Absolutely, I will. Once again, a very good morning to Mutala. Morning to you, to our viewers out there. I think parliamentary democracy is so important to us as a budding democratic nation. If we don't take our parliament seriously, it's going to affect us. And of course, we will not be able to make the strides that we anticipate to make as a nation, which is supposed to be seen as a very solid democratic nation. So the call by the president, for me, without a doubt, is more than apt, and is the best call at this time. Except to add that, yes, my good brother did say that he should have. When you support a good call like this, you don't dilute it with some, with all respect to him, petty politicking.
Dilution here.
Let me come.
Is it not the fact that the vice president told the minority they were ignorant? Is it not the fact that...
Let me make my point.
Come on, please go.
Now, citing the vice president, citing the finance minister, and all that. You see, the laws of this country are clear. Parliament can summon whoever they feel has business to do with them in Parliament and before Parliament. And as we speak, we all had the news that the finance minister concerning this, the bond issue that they've raised, which of course for me is quite frivolous.
Wow.
When he was summoned before Parliament, the finance minister never said, no, I'm not going to go to pure Parliament for any scrutiny to be given.
He can't say no.
No, he can say no.
Yeah.
So it means that the procedure has been followed by the government of the day. I'm not aware that the Vice President of the Republic of Ghana was called by Parliament to come and talk on, speak on this issue, that he said anything to the contrary. No, that never happened.
It was only reported in the media.
So, absolutely. What did he say? Is it if you've raised issues, if minority have raised issues concerning a bond, and minority doesn't mean Parliament. Trust me. If at the end of the day, you have NDC, a minority, as a political party, you have members of NDC. Of course, by extension, we have members of NDC who are parliamentarians at the same time. Are you getting me? Now, if, of course, a member in Parliament who belongs to a particular political party, which is in the minority, says that we have issues with this bond, the last time I checked anyway, the petition before Shraj was not actually by a member of Parliament even, but also rather by their youth organizer in Ashanti region, Bojo Jemfi. Is that not right? Now, if the vice president was speaking to that matter and saying that there's lack of understanding of how this bond was issued, then you have problem to say that, oh, look, the president should have addressed his vice president before coming to advise us that we should get a strong parliament which would deal with public, institutions and all that to be able to, as it were, get our public accounts working effectively. I think already Parliament is doing so well. but we need to strengthen. That's the call the president has made. We need to strengthen what Parliament is doing. In doing so, the president didn't stop.
Let me ask you this. Comrade thinks that sometimes the posture of the executive tends to intimidate members of Parliament. And he cited the Vice President and the Minister of Finance suggesting that Parliament, those who are criticizing the bond, are not on top of their act.
The fact is that you invited the Finance Minister before Parliament. He came to Parliament, told the August House what it is about the bond, or the issuance of the bond. Procedures were followed, told you that, look, the normal process that they've always followed to issue bonds, as it were, was what they did. Now, at the end of the day, you have problems. Then he said, look, there's lack of clarity in your understanding of what transpired. Then you say that is an insult. Now, if you are interpreting that to mean it's an insult, that is your own position. Okay. But to the best of my knowledge, the finance minister, the honorable finance minister, never stood in Parliament to insult anyone, to say that, look, you are ignorant, or you are this, or you are that. He didn't go that way. He only said, look, you lack understanding, but this is exactly what it is. Then you are calling for documents here and there. He furnishes you with the documents later. Then you still have problems. I think we should, it's about time we, like I said, that's why I said petty politicking with this. I mean, we should not try to politicize everything that comes our way. In any case, if the economy needs to be boosted or needs to be, pushed up, and the finance minister needs to take a decision that with this, that is within the context of the law, the context of the law, what stops him?
I see.
He moves on. Right. So for me, I think the president call to land. Right. The president call was excellent, or is excellent. We need to get Parliament working so hard. I've always said that, look, what comes out of the Public Accounts Committee settles, we see serious revelations. At the end of the day, what happens? Okay, so it's about time we strengthen these procedures to make sure that we discourage corruption in our society.
All right.
Right. Very quickly.
30 seconds.
Very quickly. Let me remind my brother that you don't necessarily need to go to Parliament before you can demonstrate gross disrespect and condescending towards them. And as a matter of fact, the Vice President said that the members of Parliament, the minority in Parliament, were ignorant. I can understand. He's fasting, so sometimes some of these things do happen. He said that the minority in Parliament were ignorant. He's the only person. If you have no he's the only person. He's the only person who lives in Syria and doesn't know that Aleppo is under siege. I am surprised that this thing was widely reported. It was hugely condemned by well-meaning Ghanaians. He sits here and he wants to deny the fact that the Vice President didn't say that the minority in Parliament were ignorant. Two, the finance minister was invited when Parliament, the minority leader and minority, invoked Standing Order 49, which is very explicit, that they write to you with specific questions, demanding specific answers. He didn't answer a single one of the questions they demanded in writing before he appeared when Standing Order 49 was invoked. You come here and you sit here and you tell me that he never did that. I am saying that in as much as that is a good call, let's see it being demonstrated. Now, if you have the executive arm, in fact, the leader, who is making such a call, which I say is a good call, yet you have his vice, the second most important citizen of this country, who, when the very same legislature are demanding clarity, are demanding explanation for the taxpayers' monies to be protected, when your government entered into a dubious 2.25 billion, by the way,
that's
which will be paid, which will be by the way, the finance minister comes to say that is it not mind-boggling? Is it not shocking to you that the legal advisor, the Minister for Justice herself, even after the bond was issued, said she was unaware?
It doesn't make it.
No, are we living in a banana republic? It does. No, constitutionally and legally, you cannot enter into such agreement. You cannot, which is legally binding. And the one who is supposed to be the leader, the advisor of your government on legal matters is unaware. The one, in fact, cabinet was not even constituted. How was it approved? As we see today, we do not know who indeed owns the 5%. And I'm talking about over $150 million. We do not know. You sit here, we are talking about the taxpayers' money. That come and explain. Give us the executed document. You come there, and then you printed things presenting thesis as to how bonds are issued. Are we interested in how bonds are issued? Specific questions were asked. Answer those specific questions. So in as much as it's a good call, let's see it being demonstrated. And frankly speaking, and on a more serious note, we need to take a second look at that constitutional provision. Let people go in so that you have it, the legislative arm, absolutely insulated from the executive arm. And that is where we can see the legislator demonstrated. And honestly, the legislative arm itself must be seen demonstrating independence. Mind you,
and that's from members.
Yes, members of parliament. We must be seen demonstrating that. Look at that corruption allegation or bribery allegation that came up. Those things must not, because once we have frequent experiences of such, it erodes the integrity and the independence of the legislative arm. And I don't think it argues well.
All right. I'm grateful. Come on, wrap up for me. Just one minute. Let's move on to
I think the vice president will be the last person, in our system of governance to chastise parliament.
But he did.
If you like, disrespect parliament.
Oh, he did.
Will never do that.
He did.
In fact, when you go look at our constitution critically, he could sit in parliament and accorded the same privileges that a member of parliament is being given or is given.
What are you talking about, Kamal?
I'm making a point. Just listen to me, you understand me.
Don't land in the mud.
He being a member and knowing how important the House is, he would never, and he has never stood anywhere to say, I am insulting parliament. It has never happened.
Oh, he said the minority, the minority in parliament were ignorant.
Again, what happens to Article 122? He knows that whoever is, sounds contemptuous of parliament or appears to be in contempt of parliament or appears to disrespect parliament, as he's saying, you are hauled before parliament.
But where from this?
So your point is that if the vice president has said something,
absolutely,
he would have been hauled
before. How contemptuous is that?
I've never heard anywhere that someone say the vice or parliament complains of the vice president actually insulting parliament or chastising parliament or disrespecting parliament. And of course, and I'm saying that we even have a clause which is an entrenched one.
You are fasting.
Okay? Which says that whoever appears contemptuous in his comments or his actions or inactions towards parliament could be hauled before the
But what is contemptuous about this?
We never did anything like you were alleging that. You were
it's contemptuous.
Okay, come on. So
if you disrespect parliament, if you're insulting parliament, what does that mean? You are trying to say that they have. And I'm saying they've never done that. And they will never do that. Anyway, look, forget about it.
I can understand. Maybe perhaps he overslept. He didn't even take water.
I am only putting on record that the vice president of the republic has never insulted parliament and will never do.
We'll leave that for our viewers to take it. But let's jump to the finder. Salvos in NDC, the massive defeat by the NDC in last year's election, coupled with the race to elect a new flag bearer, has divided the rank and file of the party. That the top echelons are firing salvos indiscriminately. The disturbing trend, which started from the grassroots, has now exploded in the top hierarchy and threatens the very survival of the NDC. That's Elvis Dako's story in the finder, and he paints out the picture that despite Prof. Kwesi Botwe's committee's work, there still seems to be some confusion in the NDC. Comrade Ibrahim Murtala Mohammed. So the party is yet to put the defeat behind it and begin to pick the pieces. What is really the cause of this confusion in the party?
Right. I think that we need to take the people of this country serious, and particularly journalists when you are writing a story. It's not just about having, sensational, headings. You read a story. Who has fired in a salvo? Who?
Well, he says on radio, on TV.
Which radio? Did he mention specifically?
He don't mention the radio station.
Listen to me.
He said discussions on radio and TV programs. The phone-in segment turns out to be a fight between opposing and supporters. One group making unsavory comments about the leaders of the party, and then persons perceived to have amassed wealth under Mohammed's administration.
So what has he said? Let's get serious. Part and the most important aspects of journalistic practice is to inform, entertain, and educate. And I shudder to think that there are sections of the media who are just interested in entertaining inform us, tell us the truth. As a matter of fact, if you publish a story like this, for your reading public, you should be able to provide this person
entertaining.
Allow him. I'll come to you.
Well,
come on, you go.
Maybe you don't get it. You see, if you are publishing a story like this, then tell us specifically, this person said this, this person said this. And by the way, tell me any political party in the world that you go into an elections and you lose the elections just as we lost, that you wouldn't have an implosion. As far as I am concerned,
there are some kind of...
Of course, they're definitely bound to have that.
Is that what not the paper is doing?
No, but when you tell me that salvos, and you are talking about the hierarchy, you know, of the party, provide your listeners, to your reading public, A, B, C, D. Now, if I am not aware, assuming I just traveled somewhere and came to Ghana, and then I see a story like this, I read the story, then there seems to be no clarity as to who has said what. But I'm saying that I nearly said what a gentleman said, that he may Ghana how he has. You see, and as a matter of fact, right, every political party, and I can give you a litany of examples, when the NPP lost the elections in 1992, then Professor Asiedu-Dartey of blessed memory, who was their candidate, there was an implosion after the 1992. Even though they wrote, they refused, they said it was stolen, you know, there was an implosion. And in fact, that occasion even they changing a candidate in 1996. In 2000, when they won the election, there was an implosion in NDC. And I remember, before 2004, there were a lot of people who said that Prof. Mills should not be the NDC's candidate within the NDC. Yet we used Prof. Mills of blessed memory, and in 2008 elections, we won. 2012, when we won the elections, what didn't happen in their party? 2000, and I remember, even in 1996.
So your point is that it's normal. The paper isn't saying anything.
No, right. Even in 1996, you remember, when the former President Kufuor was the candidate and they lost the election, what didn't the current president say about the candidate they used in the 1996 elections? So I'm saying that you are bound to have those things. And by the way, we have chosen the path of democracy. And we are a democratic party where people's views must be contested and challenged. Now, you cannot just say that because President Mahama was our candidate in 2016 and then we lost. If President Mahama wants to contest again, it is within his democratic right to contest. Now, you cannot also impose President Mahama on the electorate within the NDC. President Mahama would have gone through the due process of contesting to be elected as a flag bearer of the NDC. Whoever wants to contest President Mahama is at liberty to contest him. So I have a position. My position is that it is absolutely nonsense to say that President Mahama should not contest again. It is equally nonsense to think that you want to impose President Mahama on the electorates of the NDC. Allow people to file. If President Mahama wants to contest again, he can contest. Any other person who wants to contest President Mahama should be free, should be at liberty to contest him. When we go to Congress, then the electorate would determine who they think must lead the NDC in the 2020 elections. And I think that is what we should be advocating for. Now, if you have people who have expressed their views, at least those people didn't take machetes and guns to the party headquarters like we saw in the NPP headquarters with regards to their national chairman sacking and their national secretary. We didn't see that. Your TV station carried it. Now, if people are expressing their right within the democratic space and saying that, look, we don't think that President Mahama should be used again, we must find a different candidate, that is acceptable, but you can't say, stop him, he must not. Now, others are also saying that we think that it would be appropriate that we use President Mahama again because whoever is going into this contest will be contesting on the legacy of President Mahama. Everybody has the right, but you can't say that impose President Mahama on the electorate or President Mahama should not contest. I am saying we are doing this in the atmosphere of civility. We are doing this within the ambit of democratic principles and constitutionalism. We are doing this within law. That yes, within the NDC, people can take opposing views. At the end of the day, I have no doubt in mind, we will triumph. You remember, when the founder raised certain issues about the NDC and criticized and others, I sat here and I said, look, it is within his right to speak his mind. You may disagree with the position taken by the founder, but you cannot say that he should be strangulated from expressing his views. You can't do that.
Oh, okay. Let me go to Kamal. He thinks that this is what is happening in the NDC is a normal thing. It's part of democracy. People can express their views and opinions.
It's normal to him, actually. You see, the crass corruption that we plunged this country into under the leadership of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama.
What corruption?
Okay? Please. I was so quiet and very mute when you were speaking. The crass corruption.
That's a good reminder.
I'm happy you are learning now.
Okay? Come on, please go.
We witness under his tutelage or under his reign. Trust me. Is what is the subject matter today in NDC. The founder of NDC, as they have, even though the last time I checked, the laws that establish political parties doesn't have a founder, it has founders. Because one person doesn't sign to make a political party. You need a couple of people anyway. But they have chosen to have a founder. The founder of NDC says that greed, corruption, naked thievery, stealing, is what has caused our defeat.
Where did he say that?
Why? When the president, John Dramani Mahama, was at the Flagstaff House, in fact, was on the seat of governors. You know what happened? The founder of NDC again said that over 60% of his appointees were thieves. I'm not saying it all. I'm making references to him. Former Attorney General, NDC, proper speaking NDC, a foundation member of NDC,
which format
says that.
All
right, Martin Amidu, if you want me to mention it. So, Martin Amidu says that.
Okay, good.
Never again should we have a leader like His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, because he thinks corruption or the fight against corruption has been thrown to the dogs. And at the end of the day, it's not inuring to our benefit as a nation. What is this brouhaha about NDC not being stable and salvos being fired all over in the party? It's about leadership. And he just alluded to the fact, saying that yes, it will be nonsensical to have a party that would say that we will not go for Congress to do an election.
I didn't say that.
No, you just said that it would be nonsensical to say that the right of President Mahama should be taken away not to contest. Equally, would it be nonsensical to say that other people should not contest or whatever? Bottom line is that you were making a point that you need to go to Congress, allow the delegates to determine who leads the party, and then you move on. But run up to where you want us to have, or the position you want us to see. People would have to come out. You just sat here, and you said clearly that me wanting to become a youth leader of our party, I may have problems and all that. Is that what? I'm coming. No, you didn't mention it. I'm not advertising it. No, please. You mentioned that. No one in MPP is saying that Kamal should not contest. Nobody is saying that. No one in MPP is saying that other persons should not contest. No, we are equal and we are one. So we will get there. But before we get there, lots of comments will come up. And these are very unhealthy comments, telling Ghanaians that, look, this is a political party that has actually pretended over corruption. They've sat down to watch Ghana being milked. They've sat down to create loot and share. And now we have had to struggle with this economy as a nation. That is what they're saying. Therefore, never again should we have such a leader. Those who are calling for President Mahama not to come back are those who want to see Ghana better, because they believe that, look, the kind of corruption that we've seen under him, it was unprecedented. Nobody has ever seen that. And it's terrible. That is what is happening. But you see, I wish them well. I wish them well. I'm just wrapping up. I wish the NDC so well. And I want them to be very healthy in opposition so that they could give constructive criticisms to our government. So at least we would make sure that indeed the good governance that we promised these people, or Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, the President of the Republic, promised the people of Ghana, the better change that we promised them would actually be seen to be working.
The Statesman has this story. It says that... let's move on. Okay, see...
No, but it's important I make this very quickly.
Why?
Just
you are not corrupt?
10 seconds.
10 seconds.
No, that you are not corrupt?
First and foremost, if we want to go by his logic, and I would want to go by it, every single statement President Rawlings made is the absolute truth. President Rawlings described your party just at Ashama. Hold on. Ashama, just last week or two, that Nanado and the MPP are the most corrupt. That logic.
Oh, really?
Hold on,
well,
please. Oh, yes, I did.
Did you?
Oh, yes.
He said we're very
corrupt. Oh, please. Oh, please.
Your 10 seconds almost up.
Oh, please. He talked about corruption. And by the way, your flag bearer. What kind of stories allegations didn't people make about drugs against him? Does that make him? Hold on. But these are allegations. The corruption you are talking about.
To the extent that you have a judge, a sitting High Court, Supreme Court judge saying that we're creating a
so that is absolutely
like that. You should be worried.
And you think that is not recklessness?
The statement this morning carries the story. Minister says that we're ready to disperse the $1 million per constituency, $1 million per constituency. The story says that the $275 million, which will be dispersed to all constituencies across the country, is ready. Minister for Special Initiative Mavis Howard Kumsen has disclosed. Now, according to her, 70% of the $1 million each for each constituency will be spent on government priority projects such as the One District, One Factory, One Village, One Dam, warehouse for planting for food and jobs, among others. The remaining 30% will be used for the priority constituency needs, which will be determined by a 10-member team approved by Cabinet, she explained. Kamal, let me begin with you. We'll run out of time, so we'll rush you. Now, so the concern here is the fact that this $1 million issue attracted the issue of who supervises the fund, the money. And the reaction was that some authorities, development authorities, 3 of them, Northern, the Middle Belt, and then the Coastal Belt, will deal with it. The concern is that these authorities are not in place, and the money is ready to be dispersed. So there's some kind of misunderstanding there.
When I'm not too sure we have problems here, not at all. Your argument or your position is that people have raised concerns that these development authorities
but who disperses, who handles this money?
Yes, you see, allocations have been made. What did the minister say?
He said that the money is ready to be dispersed.
Absolutely, ready to be dispersed. That's not mean disbursement has begun. So if you just jump the gun to say that who is going to watch over this money or supervise over the disbursement of this money, or if you like, see to the implementation of the projects that are in the minister says that we had a budget. Budget made allocations. In fact, as we speak, she's the minister in charge of these development authorities. Wait a minute. She's the minister in charge of these development authorities. Every ministry, as we all have it, would have to go defend their budget, as we have. Now, indeed, if she has defended their budget, Parliament has actually granted same. Money is ready to be disbursed. Does not mean money has actually, it's been disbursed or is actually in the course of being disbursed, as it were. Now, point is that the minister, of course, would have to do that, would recourse to those development authorities. And I'm not too sure that immediately money will be thrown out without putting in place those development authorities.
Let me read this from... No, it's not a jumping the gun. Yes. Let me read it from the statement. The minister says the president has realized that if we want to wait until the authorities, these development authorities are implemented before we can do these development initiatives, it will be very difficult for us. So he says we should put in place a provisional measure so we can do the implementation this year. The concern is,
once again,
a go-ahead has been given without the authority in place. The concern is that who handles this money?
Once again, you've just answered the question that you want me to answer by reading this.
So a provisional measure.
Saying that a provisional measure will put in place. Why do we have to take the wind out of her sail? When, of course, we all know.
We should not be worried about that provisional measure.
We are worried
since we do not know exactly who and who.
First of all, I've just told you that with recourse to the law and procedure, this money actually has been approved.
Right.
With recourse to the law and procedure, there's a minister in place. The minister says that provisional measures will be put in place. And I'm telling you once again, let's allay the fears of Ghanaians. There's no way this government will do anything that will actually see Ghana being shortchanged. We will not throw money or we will not dissipate our resources like that. The provisional measure put in place, I believe that inshallah, when the implementation process gets there, or when we get to that process, that point, obviously, we are going to know, and you are in the media, you may be the first to even know, okay? We are going to know which measures are actually being put in place. I'm happy that at the end of the day, questions like this are being raised. I am happy that at the end of the day, those who are listening and who are supposed to be manning such monies that is supposed to be in their hand are also watching and listening to us. At the end of the day, no one will do anything untoward especially when we have a president who is concerned about the public accounts of this country and calling on Parliament to work on it. Under his watch, that will never happen. The best will be done for Ghana.
The money ready. This is one key promise that has been fulfilled by the NPP.
Now he is telling you.
But what?
He is telling you that it hasn't been fulfilled. He is telling you.
What has not been fulfilled?
That the money has been approved.
He's telling you
that's
that
what he said.
He's telling you that they haven't disbursed.
Ready to be disbursed.
Please, we were in this country when you told us that we were going to reduce electricity bills. You told us. We were in this country when you told DKM, hold on, that you were going to pay the money. Yet you turn around, you look straight into the faces and the eyes of Ghanaians and said, you never said that. I am saying that this is a crass and a classical example of create, loot, and share. By the way, that money is coming from the Ghana Exim Bank. Please hold on, please. That money, because I thought you said that we should be.
Okay, please go ahead.
That money is coming from the Ghana Exim Bank. It's amazing. If you know how Exim Bank's monies are operated globally, those monies, and by the way, this was created by President Mahama when EDIF was moved to an Exim Bank. Yes,
right.
It was created by President Mahama, the very government you are accusing, who created things that you are coming to loot and share now. Now, if you look at the monies that is even kept there, Exim Bank monies are given to support for export. And the purpose of it is that you give it to private entities, and it must be done through a bank. Through a bank. Now, how can you just take monies from the Exim Bank, you give to district assemblies? By the way,
so you're saying the money is for you are alleging it.
No, but that is it. Read the entire story.
Okay.
Read the entire story. That is where the money is coming from. And if you listen to the minister, and by the way, now you are giving those monies to who? We are sitting here today.
The minister says
we are getting to the third quarter. I am
story.
saying that district assemblies common fund monies have not been released under a so-called competent government. Monies haven't been. Remember, they said that it was unacceptable for a first quarter month, please.
Some amount of money.
Which amount of money?
No.
Which amount of money? Tell me which amount of money. Which amount of money? Which amount of money?
All right, you go on. He says some money.
Which amount of money?
So you go on.
Statutory payments have not been done.
It's not true.
Okay, which amount of money?
I say monies have.
Oh, tell monies have been. Not me. Tell the public. How much?
Who? Come you go on. He says some. He doesn't have all the information.
No, I'm shocking. I'm shocking his fasting and will lie through his teeth. By the way, please. You see, you are taking this money from there, and I'm saying that we see today. Now, is it not shocking that we are told that it is to implement programs like one village, one dam, one district, one thing? Is it not shocking? As we see today, they haven't been able to tell us how many villages we have in this country, how many villages from the regions and communities that would have these things executed. You don't implement before you plan.
Can't it be captured in a detailed document?
Which document? Which document? We sit in this country. Please. The confusion, you see, the taxpayer is angry. Ghanaians are angry after this dubious $2.25 billion that you have gone in to please your friends and support you. You are coming out with this. I am telling you that Ghanaians are angry. If you want to have a program like this, that program should have been properly planned. We sit here today, 400 million Ghana cedis is captured in the budget as to the implementation of their so-called free SHS. We have been asking them to tell us how they arrive at that. They haven't been able to tell us. They just think that they can throw anything away. Tell us, you cannot take money from an Exim Bank, which is supposed to be given to private entities who have the potential of increasing production to promote export. Now, those monies must not be given to private entities. It must be given to them through banks, financial institutions. Now you are giving them to district assemblies because you want to create loot and share. That is the classical example of it. I am saying this. You see, we need to get serious. You can find out how Exim Bank's monies are disbursed. Now, you have another issue. They are telling us that it will also factor into the one district, one factory. We are, as we see today, if you look at the district assembly common fund, which has even been reduced from the 7.5% to 5%. Tell us how you're going to do that. You haven't been able to tell us. What they do is that they throw things out there thinking that we are gullible. Ghanaians are not a bunch of idiots. We are very smart. That is how your government has taken us to be. The NPP thinks that Ghanaians are idiots. We are not.
I'm bringing you in.
Very good.
I'm bringing you. He just wrapped up.
Right.
Pick this one for me and they will wrap up with this.
That will instruct district assemblies to issue payments.
Oh, by the way, you ask district assemblies to take, hold on, by the way, you ask district assemblies to take 10,000 Ghana cedis in the celebration of Ghana at 60. Please, you ask them to do that. When you had funds for that.
Mutala.
Come on, please go.
I said we will not do the wrong thing by asking district assemblies, or if you like, metropolitan or municipal assemblies, to pay monies on behalf of a foundation which is supposed to be the First Lady's foundation.
Which foundation?
We will never do that.
Which foundation?
In any case, we were in this country. You made district assemblies to procure Albert motors and other equipment.
So?
And other things.
So?
When we find out later, with government money, we're told again that there's a foundation belonging to the First Lady who were behind this, the procurement of these things, and that at the end of the day, wait a minute,
don't even go there.
You see, we will never do that. We will never, as a government, do that. Now, I'm happy that Mutala sits here to say that, look, even though that is not what the provisional measure that we are yet to see is saying.
Okay, tell us, you are from government.
He is saying that how on earth can we carry money belonging to, as it were, government, and give it to the district assembly for implementation of please. I think that is not out of place.
No, I said that
there's no problem with that.
Hold on.
If you are talking about an Exim Bank facility that has come for the implementation of this, well, I'm yet to be privy. Wait a minute. I'm yet to be privy to the report or the proposal that got to Exim Bank for this money to come. I'm yet to ascertain that. Point is that what is the content or the detailed content of that proposal, and if it's true that Exim Bank. Wait a minute. That's why I said I'm being frank. That's why I said that we are yet to find out what the proposal presents. Now, if the proposal to Exim Bank is XYZ, and this is the mode of implementation in terms of disbursement, we're going to go about it. And I believe the minister saying at the end of the day that the provisional measure that we put in place to cater for the yet to come development authorities, of course, will not be done outside the law. It will be done within the context of
one of the reasons why the Ministry of Finance decided to cap the statutory funds was the fact that he thinks that the money is misused down there. If this same money is going down there and we do not have, or we cannot say that this is the people or this is the structure through which the money will be dispersed, you don't think we should be worried?
You see, what's the issue here?
The issue is protecting the public.
Absolutely.
Finance.
You've raised concerns. Others have raised concerns. That, look, we are afraid if this money goes where we do not know or where clarity is not given, of course, there could be some problems. Clearly, as we speak today, not a dime, not a cedi has been spent so far.
Not the guarantee that you.
And we are told, again, I want to repeat myself, by the same story you read, that measures will put in place. And measures put in place would ensure that indeed is going to be within the ambit of what we say proper procedure. And nobody would misappropriate any amount of money. So at the end of the day, we are saying nothing now.
Right.
We see when we have not even expended one cedi, someone is worried that there's going to be great
because you have demonstrated
that. But you had expended millions of cedis. We have not done that. So what are you talking about?
See who is talking
you
about.
You had expended millions of cedis in the name of a foundation belonging to the First Lady. We kept quiet.
See who is talking about proper procedure, even a bond of a quantum of $2.25 billion. The Minister for Justice herself told Ghanaians she was unaware. Hold on. You just sat here. Hold on. Okay. If it has to do with proper procedure, in your annals of things, proper procedure has no place. You have disregarded proper procedure. I am saying that when we demanded to know what you are even using the money for, you haven't. In all your dealings, you have disrespected proper procedure. You had a fund, and His Excellency the President told the people of this country that unlike the past, that they are going to ensure that corporate will finance the celebration of Ghana at 60. Only for you, clandestinely and secretly wrote letters to district assemblies, municipal and metropolitan assemblies, instructing them to take monies from the assembly to finance that Ghana at 60. I mean, please, the people of this country are very smart.
I want you to cross-check as a journalist, in fact, a renowned one for that matter, that last week, District Assembly Common Fund.
Oh, it went last week.
Okay.
So which quarter?
And I'm saying that money have actually been paid. And I'm saying he lied. He lied when he said that they will not receive their common fund. It's not true.
Which quarter?
We will find out.
I can state. Right. You see, he's sitting here. He's sitting here upon it.
Monies have actually been.
He's sitting here. Oh, hold on.
And they have received.
So
for the first quarter.
Right. I mean, so you tell me we are getting to third quarter. You are telling me first quarter. You tell me it has been paid.
I'm saying
me and you who is lying.
Which?
Is it first and second quarter?
I'm grateful. Gentlemen,
first quarter, we're in third quarter, you tell me that it has been paid.
We have never paid money.
Right.
No, but I'm saying that we're in the third quarter, you are telling me you paid first quarter, and you sit here and tell me you are paid.
All right, okay. Gentlemen, I'm grateful. We have hit the top of the hour, and I'm grateful for your time. Kamadin Abdullah is the NPP's national
they can't just take a position.
They can, you can't the member
it's not really
of the
easy
NPP.
for you.
Comrade Ibrahim Mutala Mohammed is a former deputy trade minister, a member of the NDC. Gentlemen, grateful for your Wednesday morning. Thanks so much for joining us. Those of you who stayed at home to watch, we're grateful. Let's step on the brakes for now. When we're back, we'll tell you what's happening in the world of sports.
Right, I'm telling you, the whole man has not been paid. He knows.